Okay, so some necessary background here. In 2009, David Myrland was pulled over for driving without a license. He had an expired plate, etc., and he got his car impounded. That really pissed him off, and he started threatening the mayor and the city attorneys. Turns out doing that is a felony, and in December 2011, he was sentenced to 40 months in jail for making those threats. He also had to repay the city $2,000 for police overtime costs. In March 2014, he was released from jail, so let's look at what he's been doing since he got out of jail.
You're entitled to a clear explanation of all the laws, and they're lying because Section 83 contains protections. It says only the excess over the amount paid is gross income. And if an amount is not gross income, it does not go on a Form 1040. That's why it's so important, is because a Form 1040 is for reporting gross income. And so if you don't start in Section 83, you lose Section 83. And that's what the government does. It puts everything in 61A, gross income. For starters, it makes you fight for it. And the moment you mention Section 83, they rail against you. You can't have it. That's why it's so important, is because, like it or not, everybody, the government and us, it applies to all compensation for services. Even a federal public servant has to comply with Section 83 when they do their own tax return, but they don't know about it, and so they lose too. Everybody that receives compensation, regardless of who they are, at whatever job, for whatever employer, or for whatever customer or client, everybody that receives compensation is subject to the terms of Section 83. That's how important it is, and that's what you didn't pick up on from what was on the website itself. It's reading material. I'm not going to put the whole thing for free on the web. I have a book about Section 83. If you go to the products page of the website, Codebreaker, the Section 83 equation, a manual I wrote in 1994. In 2014, I added 30 pages to it and published it, and it's for sale on the website.
That's right. Since Myrland got out of jail, he's been online selling different ebooks and products that he claims allow you to not pay income taxes. Now, he's basing this on 26 USC Section 83, which is titled Property Transferred in Connection with Performance of Services, which right there should tell you that there's something wrong with this theory. Quote, if in connection with the performance of services, property is transferred to any person other than the person for whom such services are performed, the excess of the fair market value of such property at the first time of the rights shall be included in the gross income of the person who performed such services. Now, I'm just going to cite Childs v. Commissioner of Internal Revenue, which is a 1994 case, in order to explain why his Section 83 argument is wrong. Quote, congressional intent in enacting Section 83 was to equate the tax treatment of restricted stock plans involving employers and employees to the tax treatment accorded to other types of deferred compensation arrangements. It has nothing to do with normal income tax on wages and stuff. It would not apply to, say, money that you get paid in exchange for flipping burgers at Burger King. That would not be covered by Section 83 because, quote, it is not a restricted stock plan. Secondly, we need to deconstruct what Myrland's argument is. Section 83 is talking about property transferred in connection with performance of services. How he reads it is that you perform a service and you receive money, and he interprets that transfer of money to you is a transfer of property in connection with performance of services. Now, here is why that specific argument does not work. The definition of the words used in Section 83 are defined in 26 CFR 1.83-3, meaning and use of certain terms. And if we scroll down to subsection E, it defines what property is. Quote, for the purposes of Section 83 and the regulations thereunder, the term property includes real and personal property other than either money or unfunded and unsecured promises to pay. In other words, money is not covered by Section 83. If you receive money in exchange for services, Section 83 does not apply, contrary to what Myrland argues.